All right, and we're now recording. I'm still inside of the weather right now. Inside of the news, and we'll be starting. Turn this volume down. My phone. We got some comments already. Mallory, I see your sister's on. And of course, our faithful listener, Derek Coleman, says good morning. Well, good morning, Derek. Looking forward to
listening from NEA.
All right, so stand by. We'll be going live on the radio and officially starting in about 20 seconds. And Quabila has now been added to the conversation. Where's my gallery view? Where's my gallery view? There we go. All right, prepare to stand by as we go live now. KLK 102.5 FM. Good morning to you on your Monday. It's September 28th, 2020. This is Community Conversation. Kato Wonder is here with you. I'm joined by Quabila Jones, host of Community Conversations. And today joining us via Zoom is Mr. Reginald Prunty. He is a local business owner, and he is the Democratic candidate for the Arkansas House of Representatives, District 58. Of course, I got to start with the disclaimer. KLK and the Voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. We do not endorse, support, or oppose any candidate for office. These interviews are provided for informational purposes only, but we definitely encourage you to exercise your right to vote. Election day is November 3rd. Early voting begins October 19th. We have until October 5th to get registered to vote. And if you decide you want to vote absentee because of COVID-19 or any other concern, please go ahead and request that now and get it returned as soon as possible. Preferably, if you can, drop it off at the clerk's office, but if you have to mail it as soon as possible. So we want to once again welcome Mr. Prunty to the conversation. So as always, we'll just ask him to give a little introduction of himself and his background.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all excited about these races that are going on. We are. We've been out walking, canvassing. Love to have your support. The one good thing about this is we do have a deadline, which is October the 5th. Please get your registration in. Doesn't matter who you vote for, but at least exercise your right. That is your signature. My name is Reginald Prunty. I'm running for the Arkansas House of Representatives, and I would love to have your support.
All right, so go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
So what made you just decide to run for this office? You actually ran for this seat once before. So what made you decide to run again? And also, what lessons did you take from the last time you ran for this seat that you're taking into this race?
Well, the decision to run was representation. I think a state rep need to be visible, accessible to all the citizens of District 59. I think visibility is good. The one great thing about this, the only way I can go down and properly represent District 59 is the people know who I am. I need to know who they are. And I need to be accessible by face, by phone, by email.
Okay, we'll go to Quabila for the next question.
Say it again.
We're going to go to Quabila for the next question.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Prunty. How are you?
Good morning, Quabila.
All right, so what are some of the top issues that you feel that Arkansas, and more specifically District 59, faces that you would like to address if you are elected?
Well, the 4 bullet points that I have is education, economics, crime, and homeless. I think those 4 things that we cover will cover the quality of life that we're actually seeking to improve this community.
All right, so let's just break down each of those, because each of those are very important and definitely to me. Let's just start with education. You know, we've heard talk from teachers, students, parents, over the course of the years, how the core curriculum is conducive to effective learning at times, and all students don't learn the same way. And there are some changes that can be made, and sometimes students feel like they're just being they're learning to take a test, and we all know that standardized tests do not measure the totality of someone's intellect, of their education. So what are some changes that you would like to see, or what are some changes representatives can make when it comes to the curriculum for Arkansas?
Well, I think as far as curriculum, one of the things, first off, I want to start with everyone is not going to be college material. They're not ready for a four-year school. I think we need to look at other avenues, such as trade schools. We also need to look at people that are going to school once they graduate, even with covering all those curriculums. You face that fact of you have no experience. That's
Mhm.
internships. We have companies that are willing to partner with the Arkansas school systems and do interns. I think as a recipient initially um, of the schools, let's say non-traditional college,
Mhm.
gave you somewhat a slight advantage of getting into the workforce. You can always go back and rebuild and get the four-year degree. I think as far as those go, I think that would work very well within the system. Um, there again, as you said, on curriculums. The curriculums that are put out there are great things to build a foundation, but it doesn't the employment history.
Okay. And so um, I would love to see more collaborations or partnerships with corporations that have these jobs that need to be filled that require some level of experience that they don't have the time or finances to train for. So if students can get that experience, even as young as junior high, just getting introduced to the information, and then when they get to high school, hopefully they can get more hands-on. That would be excellent for those that want to move into a job right out of high school and not necessarily go to college.
Well,
Okay.
I agree. Go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
No, I agree. But the great thing is, see, we don't have that program in place. So let's address the people that's affecting now. They have internships for people that are in college today that would
Okay.
get the education, the work experience that would help them right now. We're looking, as I get in, hopefully we can build that starting from a junior or a sophomore or a senior to do internships. And there are places out here that are willing to do it. Plus, a lot of times what they do is they hire you in, they pay you, and you're learning on their dime. If you have experience coming in and you've already worked for that company, it actually helps you get in the door. So as you get your educational base, it moves you up the ladder.
Okay.
Let's go to our Facebook. Let's go to our Facebook comments. Derek Coleman says, "Good morning, sir," and "Good morning, KLEK." Bethany Hill says, "Good morning." Dr. Lily Fear says, "I'm here. Mr. Prunty has cared about upward mobility since I've known him, and that's been about 3 decades. Hashtag Team Prunty." And Gwen Henderson says, "Good morning, KLEK." So, my question for Mr. Prunty is, as a business owner, how has your business experience helped you with this campaign? And what lessons have you drawn from that, which you use to draw more economic development to District 59, especially the more northwestern parts, which includes some of North Jonesboro, in which the economic development has fallen behind other parts of the city?
Well, I think having a business, excuse me, let's say being an entrepreneur, I've been doing this a long time. I also used to own the Copy Center at Arkansas State University. So being an entrepreneur is something that I've actually suggested to a lot of the people within our community. But the greatest thing about that is being able to share and teach them the mistakes that I've made along the way. I didn't have what they call a mentor. I had to learn on my own. So that ability is available for us to assist the young people that want to be entrepreneurs. I think helping me in this election has been having a building, having the location, being able to meet, being able to communicate with the people. It actually has helped my business grow as far as exposure to Legends Barbecue Smokehouse. So that being said, I think everything bridges together. The vision of the idea I have for economics would be we need to see the growth of Northwest Jonesboro or Southwest Jonesboro. When I take time, and I want you all to vision this, if we could actually elevate Main Street and Johnson up to the highest level, and I'm facing north, and I look to my right, I see the hospital, I see a hotel, I see restaurants. What I see is banks. Now, let me tell you the big vision of it. I see jobs. Jobs that could be that will be great for the entire community. But if I take and look left, I see Rice and Foods, I see Legends, and if I look hard enough, I may see Ron's Catfish down. We need to address that issue. We could actually get us a branch bank in Northwest Jonesboro or Southwest, personally on Dan Avenue or Johnson. We could, if you put a bank in, you're gonna see a grocery store come in. If you see a grocery store come in, you see fast food come in. What I see is jobs for this side. This will also, if we put things in at that level, it would also service Cache, Egypt, Bono, and Jonesboro. They don't have to drive all the way across the city of Jonesboro to go and get some of these amenities that would be provided for them.
Now, you mentioned the towns of Cache and Egypt, and obviously they're the smaller parts of the area of Fishville now, so they may not get as much attention as the city of Jonesboro. But what are some things that you would do for those communities as well to address their needs?
Well, I don't think there should be more attention given to one than the other. I've had an opportunity to go out and do some canvassing yesterday, and my agreement to them is we will have town hall meetings in Jonesboro. Yes, we will. We will have town hall meetings in Bono. Yes, we will. We would also do those in Egypt. Yes, we will. I will also do that once a month in Cache. The only way I know or can go and properly represent you is for you to get to know me. I need to be visible. I need to be in your town. I don't need to have a meeting in Jonesboro and invite Bono, Cache, and Egypt. They can come if they like, but we should have that on the calendar to let them know that we're concerned. How do I know if a farmer has an issue if I never talk to the farmer? How can I talk to a young lady that has any other problem going on in their life if I never ask them? People want the state reps to go down and be their voice. I cannot be your voice without talking to you. Once I know your needs, I promise you, I will do my best to make it happen.
Did you have a question?
Well,
if not, we can go to the live feed.
Go if there's other questions.
All right, so going to our live feed, shout out to Reverend Jeremy Jones, who says good morning. So, Mr. Prunty, I'm looking on your website, which is pruntyforarkansas.com. Again, it is pruntyforarkansas.com, and you have some main pillars of your campaign. And Kubila has asked about the educational opportunities, and I just mentioned about the economic development, but we have a couple others on here. Reduce criminal activity. So what is your plan to help reduce criminal activity? What resources could you take from the state level to allocate more to the local level if you are elected state representative?
Well, from the state level, the laws that are put in place are generally done by the state representative, which is state legislature. It also, half of that is done by the Senate. You put laws in place, that's what we do. We would actually set the budget for different areas. There's programs that we could look at that could put in place to help from the criminal standpoint, maybe even help the police officers as far as educating our officers in this community. I think bridging with the officers bridging with the communities, bridging with the churches, and also bridging with the community itself can actually deter crime. One of the things that I did years ago is we put together Jonesboro Crime Stoppers. Jonesboro Crime Stoppers was a great entity for the city of Jonesboro. I think it helped deter crime. I don't know how widely it is used now because I've gotten broader and doing other things. But I think that's one of the things we have to do. We have to have community watch. We have to have each and every one of us looking out for each other. That's the thing that I think about crime and what we can do to fix it. One of the other great things that deter crime is helping, for once in our lifetime, in my lifetime, there's money being spent in North Jonesboro. Housings are better, streets are better. The people in those areas are feeling better. For years, I think it was a myth that we were a bad community. To me, that stigma we need to try to get rid of. I've lived in Jonesboro 63 years, all total. We've never had the crime that people have said we did. But the one thing, as city of Jonesboro grow, and we are growing at 5 to 20% yearly, we're going to get larger. As people come, you may have 20, 30, 40 people moving to Jonesboro that are very productive citizens. What we fail to realize is all of us have relatives, friends that follow us to locations, and they may not be productive as well. So the crime is going to grow. So if we don't put something in place now as a balance, we can be like all the other cities that have crime that we can't control.
Our Facebook shout out to Henry Burrell, who says good morning. Going back to your website, the final pillar that I see on here is promote access to quality health care. I'm sorry, there's a couple others. I had to scroll a bit. But the next one is promote access to quality health care. Of course, you know, health care is in the news, both with COVID-19 and an upcoming challenge to the Supreme Court for the Affordable Care Act and how that may potentially turn out. And then of course, on the state level, we also have Arkansas Works. So if you are elected state representative, what will you do to protect people's health care?
Is health care I support. Health care is essential. It's not something that, healthcare is not something that's an option. If you had bad things happen to you in life, you could fix tangible things in your life that are bad. Health is something that once you get bad health, it's not easily fixed. You think you've had bad times, get sick. We need health care. We need everyone to have health care. And I will support anything that comes across the board to help give health care to the District of 59.
So that would include fighting to keep the Arkansas Works expansion in place?
Yes, sir. Why would we not keep it in place, considering the fact that the federal government pays 70% and Arkansas pays 30%? Now, years ago, they paid 100%. We won't go back. We can't change anything from the past. But going to the future, we have control of what happens in our lives. And if I'm the guy there for you, we will have some control. But the most important thing coming from this, how can I know the needs of the healthcare? And I iterate, how can I know the needs of your healthcare, even with pre-existing conditions, if I never talk to you? I can't go on my convictions. Go ahead.
Well, I just will say this. Most people that know me, not going to get too deep in my situation, but I'm falling in that category where having that coverage for certain conditions is beneficial, because I've faced, not having enough coverage for the care that I need for certain things. So it is a little frustrating. And I wish that the legislators and all the representatives would see that the people of Arkansas, people everywhere, but I live in Arkansas, the people of Arkansas matter, and we need that coverage across the board. It shouldn't be who can afford this and that, who is more deserving, quote unquote. Yeah, everyone needs that coverage. And there are just things that need to be advocated for a little bit more. And I know, again, that comes from the people like me who raise their voice and say, this is what we need. And so you may get tired of me. Like, I'm getting to know all of our representatives and whoever else. So come January, whatever, whoever's in office, I'm going to start being a little more active, a lot more active.
Well, and as we get inside of 1 minute left in our segment, I think that's what every constituent should do, no matter who their representative is, no matter what party they represent. They should be engaged, reach out, ask questions, because ultimately the people are the ones that send these representatives to Little Rock to represent us. And if we don't speak out, then it kind of gives them the freedom to kind of just do what they want, because we as a people aren't telling them what we want and what we expect from them. With that, we're going to get ready to go into our first break. We are speaking with Reginald Prunty, candidate for Arkansas House District 59, running from the Democratic Party. We got a question on our live feed from Pastor Jeremy Jones. We're going to ask that question on the other side of the break. It's talking about racism. The conversation will continue for those watching on Facebook Live. We are going to take a break from the radio. So again, we will continue live on our Facebook. So stay with us and join the discussion. We're back on air in just a few moments. This is KLEK 102.5 FM. And I see Q went dark on us.
I did.
No, Q. I'm messing with Q. She turned her video off. So the break is about 1:32, 1:34. About 4 minutes. And then we'll go back up. It's amazing how this technology is. You're at your business. I'm at home. Q's at home. I've got a laptop going that's controlling the radio part. I've got Zoom going on the iPad. I've got 2 dogs in the corner asleep. Meanwhile, looking at our Facebook shout-outs, Vivian Taylor says, hello, Prunty for House. 2 fingers up, Black excellence forever. Appreciate that, Vivian. Vivian is a supporter of KLEK. Of course, Reverend Jeremy Jones asks, and I'll give you the opportunity to answer this on the other side of the break. He says, what are your thoughts of dealing with racism and discrimination within our local community, especially the perspective of law enforcement in today's time? So definitely going to be a good and interesting question. Pick up on the other side of our break. Says community conversations. KLK 102.5. Don't forget about our debates. Our debates start this Thursday, October 1st, with our May oral debate. Unfortunately, KLK will not be able to host the debate for Arkansas 59. Representative Ladyman was not available for the date that we had available, but you will still get treated to a District 59 debate that KLK will carry live. It will be courtesy of the Kiwanis Club. And let me pull the email. I can give you the date of that debate for Arkansas District 58. So that will actually be October 28th. So even though we will not be hosting a District 59 debate on KLEK, we will be streaming the debate from the Kiwanis Club for, not District 58, 59, between Representative Ladyman and Mr. Reginald Prunty. So we got about less than a minute left before we go back live on the radio. Appreciate everybody for checking in on our live feed. Jay, let's see if we got any other Facebook Live shout outs. Okay, we've got some couple more questions, but I'll save them for the other side of the break. And we got some love that is flowing on the Facebook. Appreciate all the hearts and love that is flowing on our Facebook Live feed. I believe Mr. Prunty may be talking with his campaign team right now. His mic is muted. We're going back live in about 20 seconds, so please stand by. 15 seconds. 10 seconds. All right, stand by for a rejoin. And we're back on KLK 102.5 FM with our guest, Reginald Prunty, Democratic candidate for Arkansas House of Representatives, District 59. Let's go to our Facebook comments. We got some questions. Reverend Jeremy Jones says, what are your thoughts of dealing with racism and discrimination within our local community, especially the perspective of law enforcement in today's time?
Racism is a large topic. I think racism is something that we need to address as a whole. It's very uncomfortable for people to talk about racism, but the only way you fix or heal something is to discuss it. It's gonna get sticky, but the one thing I do know, racism has been going on a long time. I wish we could fix it. It's gonna take time to make it better. I think when we talked about education, redirecting funds, when we're talking about the police department, people was talking about defunding. That's what I spoke about it some time ago, that we really need to redirect some of the money for training as far as the officers doing the racism. But on the other hand, we all, as a whole, whites and blacks, when we get to know each other, we have less racism. Once someone knows Leganzi, someone knows Reginald, you're not faced with it. But as a whole, we've got to find a way to heal and be Jonesborians. We're all in Craighead County together. I would love to see programs put in place. We always do, we have meetings, town hall meetings, you all, for everything in the world. Let's bring it to the table and have some town halls about what can we do in our community to heal some of the racism. I would love to be a host of it. That's something that I don't really deal with a lot of it. It exists. I have been a victim of it, and I know some of you all has been as well, whites and blacks, but it's hard sometimes for my white friends to really understand. If they've never faced racism, it's hard to see it. George Floyd showed a lot of things to help healing all our communities, because some people wasn't racially motivated, but they didn't know it truly existed to the magnitude that it did. So I think if we work together on it, we can make it better.
All right, Facebook shout out to Patty Cheney Lack. Appreciate you for checking in on our live feed. Mark Zimmer says, I'm constantly impressed by Ray's community involvement, his generosity, and his willingness to volunteer for many causes. Ray has an inner drive to help others and would be a great representative for District 59. Reverend Jeremy Jones asks, how can we get more Black educators within our schools?
Well, I think now we have more than we've had in a long time. I think the educational program at ASU that does the location of teachers, they go out and they advocate to move teachers into the school system. Maybe it would be a good idea if they had a diversity program, and I'm going to say like ASU. When I owned the Coppin Center at Arkansas State University, they had a diversity program to bring in Black faculty. Maybe it would be a good idea is to find Jonesboro school system adopted that system. You won't have to invent the wheel, it's already rolling. All you'd have to do is adopt what they have. We need to see people look like us. We need the Hispanic community need to see people in the system that look like them. Sometimes it's a great thing. A lot of your problems go away when you have diversity. And I think that's the path for getting more Black teachers into the school system. And by the way, I'm proud of the ones that are there. They're doing a good job, and I know it's a tough job. But there again, there's no job that we have that hasn't been tough.
Okay. Henry Burrell says, let's talk further about the candidates sponsored by Jonesboro Business Association. Mr. Burrell, if you could provide more information on that, we'll happily talk about it. It sounds like something that KLK definitely would like to be a part of. Vivian Taylor says, setting that example, God is good to send this kind of leadership. And she says, no white people are victims of racism. LOL, sorry, sir. Then she said, yeah, when I was a professor at A-State, we had diversity initiatives too. And Reverend Jeremy Jones says, thank you, sir. So we'll go back to Quabila for our next question.
Okay, let's talk about, being more engaged with the citizens that live in your district. I do know, again, that we the people have a responsibility to meet you halfway. But some people that live in certain areas just don't have access to resources. And so if you are elected, what are some ways you would try to engage with the people to keep them informed on bills and things that are going through the House?
Okay. Hey, town hall meetings is the key for me. As you see, I am a people person. I like what I do, so I'm going to interact. I'm going to be available. When Bono had their Harvest Fest,
Mm-hmm.
when Cash had their Christmas parade, I was there.
Okay.
Had their city council meeting, I was there. And I'm not going to go away. Now, as Camille mentioned earlier, don't get upset if y'all get tired of me. Because every time you look around, I'm going to be there asking questions, saying, what do you need? It's important. When people ask me how I feel, it is so important to me that they took time to do it. People don't ask unless they're concerned. The one that ask, they could care less what happened to you. Now, that's just how I feel.
Yeah. So I hope that the people become more engaged, because there is a website. There's several websites for Arkansas where you can find out what bills are being discussed, what decisions are being made, who's voting what on what. And so we need to know these things. We need to stay on top of all of these things, because there are some bills that are passed and we don't know that they were even a thing until they're passed. And then we're affected by it, and sometimes negatively affected by it, depending on what it is. And so I just want to put this out there to all of the residents of Jonesboro, Craigett County, District 59, whoever. Stay on top of what's happening in Little Rock. I mean, yeah, we spend some time focusing on what's happening in Washington. That's important as well. But what's happening right here at home is being felt a little more immediately, so we need to stay on top of that.
And I do agree. One of the things I want to say is, and this is very important, who we send to Washington matters, but our backyard, District 59 of Craigett County, that includes Cache, Egypt, Bono, and Jonesboro.
Okay.
We need to stay on top of our community. We need to fix home. Let's say you groom someone from your backyard, and if they ever go to Washington, we know where we're sending. It's important. The one thing I want to say, and you made a good point, the Arkansas for Prunty, that website will remain. We will not close this down after the election or when it's done. That would be your avenue or your highway to know what's going on at the state. So people, if you want me to support you, there are going to be times when I need support on something that you advocate or something that you want. That's where I will ask you, I need your support on this bill, or I need your support in this area. It's very important that you keep up with this Prunty for Arkansas. It is very important that you hang on to this website. It will not go away. That's going to be my communication path to you.
All right, going back to our Facebook Live. Vivian Taylor says, got an annoying chuckle out of Mr. Prunty because he already knows. And then she asks, how can someone like me with neighbors who listen in big Lindsay management properties help to elect you?
Say it again.
Vivian Taylor says, how can someone like me with neighbors who listen in big Lindsay management properties help to elect you? And she said, bless you, Miss Jones. I see you sneezing.
Well, I don't know if I quite understand the question.
I'm guessing wherever she lives at, I'm guessing she wants to know, like, if people, how can people maybe volunteer, canvas for you, phone bank for you? What can people do to help with your campaign?
Well, first off, there's a website that you can go on, and it's and I'm gonna have to look at this, y'all, because I don't do it a lot, but it's pruntyforarkansas.com. There is a link there that you can volunteer. I'm gonna take a step forward. Most people have my number anyway. You can always call me at 870-530-3121. And I answer my phone. I don't ignore messages. I will respond to you whenever you call. There's no call that come across my phone that I don't respond back to. So you have a link to me, and that number won't change either. So call me if you have a problem.
And I just put that number in the Facebook Live comments. And also, I'll just add to that, if someone is interested in volunteering for the Prunty campaign or for any of the Democratic candidates, the Democratic campaign office is open on Matthews, and you can look them up on Facebook and look up the hours that they are open and contact them if you would also like to take part in Mr. Prunty or any other Democrat candidates campaigns.
Well, one other thing I'd like to add, we are looking for someone to assist us in the areas of Caraway. We're blocking it off Caraway, Johnson, Belt, all the way back to Main Street. So we need help immediately.
So they
material at the apartment complexes. We really need your help.
All right, so there you have it. So if you are supporting the Prunty campaign and you would like to help, you can contact him. The phone number is in our Facebook Live comments, which is 870-530-3121. The website is pruntyforarkansas.com. Kabila, if you could drop that in the comments, pruntyforarkansas.com. And also, again, you can stop by the Democratic Party headquarters as well. Vivian Taylor says, okay, this is for Kabila. Okay, I'm going to serve you up the grains and links. I want some of the grains and links too, man. I'm saying. Let's go back to the website to look at some more issues. So I think we did talk about quality of life. So I think we may have hit all of the active and accessible representation. So yeah, I think we kind of hit all of the main points. So let's talk about an issue that is very likely to come before the legislature if you are elected, or what, actually no matter who's elected, is the Stand Your Ground bill. As you know, it came forward in the last section. It was passed by the House. It did not make it out of committee in the Senate because of the no vote of Senator John Cooper. Senator John Cooper did lose his reelection bid to current Senator-elect Dan Sullivan. So it is likely that this bill is going to come back before the legislature with the higher likelihood of passing. So, Mr. Prunty, just kind of want to get your thoughts on how you would address the Stand Your Ground bill if it came before you, if you were elected.
Well, first and foremost, Stand Your Ground bill, I would definitely vote against. I have sons. I have daughters. A lot of my friends that are Hispanics have daughters and sons. Why would we even consider passing a bill that says stand your ground? Basically what that says is you have the right to shoot someone, or, you know, example would be, and I have to use the Trayvon Martin. Someone out here to think that they have the right to take the law into their hands is unheard of. I think that by far is probably the worst bills that we could put on the books. Now, that's just how I feel about it. I would definitely be against it. That's just something I just can't agree with.
All right, Kabila?
Well, just to expand on that a little, I was having a conversation with a young person, trying to get them to understand the concept of, acting out of emotion and, resulting to violence to solve a situation. And I was telling them, well, one, we don't have that law here in Arkansas, but two, and people are going to get mad, but the law doesn't benefit everyone. And so it doesn't need to be on the books right now. And that's my personal opinion, not Kelly K. This is Quabila saying, because I have a son that lives in this city. And even if he was defending himself, we would probably go through court for years and years and years, go to court for years just to, anyway, get off that. But long story short, it does not benefit everyone.
It's a message that we need to send out to our young people. And this is what I tell my sons, this is what I live by. Being that I have, and I'm gonna say quote unquote, status or name recognition. When you're pulled over, we need to teach our kids, you cannot fight that battle on the street. Years ago, my mom used to tell us, the only rights you have are the rights that people give you. And if you're out there on the street and there's a situation with an officer, you need to be in compliance. Losing control only elevates it. It makes the thing get out of control. I think you follow their lead, you give them your driver's license, you give them your registration. Yes, maybe you're being treated unfairly, but the process is set up to where we deal with it tomorrow. That's what the court system is set up. But once you're hit with 5, 6, 7 charges because you lost control or you try to exercise your rights on the street, that's not the place to do it. At that point, once you go home, you win when you don't go to jail. I tell you, I've been there. You win when you don't go to jail. After that incident happened, call me or one of your other officials. That could be, you have options of people you can call that are in the system today. And I will call names. We do have David McClain. We do have a Charles Coleman. We do have other elected officials. There are a lot of white elected officials that we could use that you could call and say, I have a problem. Can you tell me what I should do in this situation? That's better than going to jail or losing another life on the street.
Vivian Taylor says, thanks for translating my poor communication, Legacy. I'll sign up to help immediately. Let's get these apartments. So there you go, Mr. Prunty. You've got your volunteer. Reverend Jeremy Jones says, always record or have someone record. And Pat Johnson said, what is the address for the Democratic office for signs? Let me look that up and I'll post it in the comments. I'll throw it back. Oh, you have it, Mr. Prunty?
Oh, yeah, I know it by heart.
All right, well, give it to me and I'll type in the comments.
2606 East Matthews.
All right, I'm typing in the comment. Quabila?
Please stop by, go and look at the work that we put in there. There's a lot of options and a lot of things you can choose from and get other people's signs. We need your help.
All right, Quabila.
Okay, I want to go back to, I know we talked a little bit about crime, and I don't know if we touched on police reform. I apologize, I hadn't been feeling well this morning. Okay, so I want to go back to, we talk about teaching our children how to act or react when they're pulled over. Now, we know that there are several officers, and I'm just going to stick to Arkansas. I don't know anybody personally, but we know the officers have had complaints filed against them. And so sometimes they have complaints, this thick, and they're still allowed to hold their positions. And then there are times when they may be fired from a precinct, but then still allowed to go work somewhere else. And so on the state level, can something be done to reinforce or even put into play some type of bill that prevents someone, an officer specifically, if they have, committed gross negligence and they are deemed not employable with any police, with any law enforcement, how can we make that stick?
Well, let's say if elected, and I want to say this to everyone on sincerity, being serious about this is something that needs to be brought back up when I am elected, and he knows that I didn't say if. That's something that needs to happen. If you're hit with a felony, it follows you the rest of your life. If there's enough complaints out there, why should they give an officer an opportunity to go somewhere else if you've had a lot of complaints? But let's look at the other side. We have a lot of officers that are not as bad as some of those bad apples. The bad apples need to be singled out and treated as the criminals are. we definitely need that to go
Mr.
away.
Prunty, we're going to have to get ready to leave it there. I apologize. We get up against our second break, but we can finish that on the other side of the break. Speaking with Reginald Ray Prunty, Democratic candidate for Arkansas House District 59, getting ready to take our last break, but stay with us. The conversation continues on our Facebook Live feed, so don't go anywhere. This is Community Conversations. Okay, LEK 102.5 FM. All right, so our live feed is still going. And Q is frowning, even though the braids are on point.
These are the in between time, meantime. Look, you would not
take the
get these.
compliment.
Well, thank you, but this is not Quabila right here.
Well, I know it's not Quabila in full regalia. But it's all good.
It'll do. Did Mr. Prunty take a break?
Yeah, I imagine, because he's got Mallory over there helping, so I imagine they're probably kind of discussing some things as we get ready to wrap up. Meanwhile, I wish I could. Guess I could flip my camera right quick. Show you current view. I'll switch camera.
We can remind everyone to vote. Oh,
so for the rest of the break, y'all can enjoy 2 sleeping dogs. And yes, I'm sitting comfortable in the recliner in the man cave, y'all. Working from home, everybody.
But don't y'all forget to get registered to vote if you haven't already. There are several drive-through voter registrations. We'll make sure to keep those posted on the KLEK pages, so stay tuned. And if you are hosting any type of voter registration drive or informational, please let us know. KLEK at KLEKFM.org. I don't know, I have to stop and pause.
I believe, I'm not sure what group it is, but I know Dominique was telling me that the Let's Talk About It crew are going to be doing something at the Salvation Army this Saturday. There's also, I believe, this Sunday going to be a Trump parade in Jonesboro, and I'm trying to get information because I'm probably going to go live stream that as well. And some people may be wondering, well, why would I do that? Because, well, I think it's important that anything that major like that going on in the community, we need to cover it. So also, if you're on the KLEK email list, check your email as you have gotten our schedule for all of the upcoming debates. Hopefully we'll see each and every one of you on our debates as we kick them off starting this Thursday with our mayoral debate. We also will be partnering with the Kiwanis Club of Jonesboro to live stream some of the debates that they have. There's also going to be a mayoral debate this Friday at the Chamber of Commerce, the NEA Political Animals, and we will bring you that as well. So KLK, we're going to be a little bit of everywhere during this election season, so you got to stay tuned. Invite your friends to like our page, join our group, KLK 102.5 FM supporters. We're 300 strong, trying to get the number up to 500, so go ahead and join that group. Vivian, go ahead and invite all your friends there. We appreciate all your support.
I want to let people know about a North Jonesboro mobile drive-through.
Yes, at New Life Empowerment Ministries. That is going to also be October 1st. But get ready to come back from our break, so we'll announce that toward the end of the show. Stand by for the rejoin.
Clinic also, the Census Clinic.
And we're back on KLK 102.5 FM. This is Community Conversation with our guest, Reginald Ray Prunty, Democratic candidate for Arkansas District 59. Let's go to the Facebook Live, see if we have any new questions or comments. All right, so Vivian does have a question. Mr. Prunty, if you can now unmute yourself. I'm hoping I'm still not in a break. Okay, there we go. Vivian Taylor says, Mr. Prunty, would you please look into and speak on the vehicular attack on our peaceful permitted march on 5/31, in which a man, John Bowes, drove into us and pulled an AR-15, and your Comments on the criminalization of protest, please.
Criminalization of what?
Protest.
Protest. Well, let me say, on the young man that they said drove into the crowd, at that point, what I would like to do is have time to research and check more into that before I give an answer, because on that situation there, I think it's important that we get the right answer. And if he would leave his name, his number, a way of contacting him, I will reach back out to him or her and give that information to everyone on that's concerned. And what was the second part of the question?
Your thoughts on the criminalization of protests. Basically, what she's talking about in some of the larger cities, there have been incidents where protesters have been arrested by police simply for just protesting.
Well, that's a large subject. I want to say this. We had a protest in Jonesboro, and I constantly say that we need to take care of home. When I spoke at one of the protests, I told them that we wanted to be the example for the world. We wanted to make sure we did things correctly. Being if something like that happened here, we would definitely want to address it in a different way. The ones that have happened in the other areas, I personally wasn't there. I couldn't say if it was a right, wrong, or indifferent, but from what we've seen across the world, it has happened. There are peaceful protesters that were arrested. Some of them may have been gassed or whatever. I don't feel that was appropriate. But the one thing that I want to assure you all, let's try to fix District 59 and make sure it doesn't happen here.
I think what she's alluding to is that now that, I'm not gonna say the protests are ramping up, they're just still popping up in different places. And I think out of frustration, law enforcement are now criminalizing these individuals. They're arresting them, even if they are being peaceful. It's like if you're on site, there was a video that I saw. I watch different news clips and I watch different sources. I don't just watch, only CNN. I watch all sources. Anyway, there was a clip of people that were detained. They were just on the front lines, but they end up being detained in handcuffs, and the officers were going around taking their information down. So essentially now these people have a record for just going and standing up for what they believe in and voicing their concerns. So please forgive me if I'm wrong, Ms. Vivian, but that's what I took away. And that's from the things that I've read and seen, that people are now just being arrested and, like she said, criminalized just for showing up.
Well, protesting is a right that we have as Americans. I will say it like this. I went into the U.S. Army to fight for our rights. Excuse me. We have a right to protest without criminal charges being brought forth. That's where you all's voice and my voice come in to protest. We need to be able to protest without criminal charges. That is our God-given right.
Q, I think your mic is muted.
Well, I don't know, discussion is not about that, but I just want to make this statement. You are running for representative of our District 59 for the state of Arkansas. I think this is where change begins to happen. Protests they serve their purpose, but also we need to start moving towards having this conversation, getting to know who represents us, getting to know what systems are in place, what organizations are in place that are potentially oppressive or discriminatory, and start dismantling those things. Again, I'm not trying to tell people how to advocate for your issues. I just know me. I'm not a marcher. I'm a behind the scenes, I'm a pen and paper kind of person. computer phone person. So that's the role that I play. And so I just feel that there's room for all to work. And here we are having this conversation, trying to get to know who you are so that we can make an informed decision at the polls and put the best people in place to represent us, the people.
That's on Facebook Live comments. Vivian Taylor says, please research because they haven't told any of his victims what's going on. That guy drove into us on Jonesboro. I was there. Henry Burrell says, Mr. Prunty, would you be willing to attend a community chat on race relations, searching for common ground for common solutions on October 1st, sponsored by JBA? Mr. Burrell, he's on the Facebook Live. If you or your team want to inbox him after this conversation is over to continue that, but did want to read that comment. Vivian Taylor says, that's a clear stance. Thank you. And she says, diversity of tactics. I'm using this white shield to fight racism as long as I can. Well, Vivian, this is me personally speaking. Thank you very much for that. It is appreciated. All right, we're getting ready to go into our conclusion. We've got about 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. So, Mr. Prunty, is there anything else that you would like to say that we may not have covered?
Well, one of the things I would like to cover is, and I want to add this into the quality of life for District 59. We need to talk about homelessness. We have a homeless problem in District 59. I would love for us to address it, find a way to heal that problem. I think when you take education, you take economics, and you take crime, that is a recipe that I have for success. We have got to address our homeless problem in the city of Jonesboro and in other areas within District 59. I gotta say that there have been people that are homeless and they've moved from location to location. We need a place to house our homeless. That's gonna be probably one of the big topics of the state, and I would love to see it be addressed. I don't have the solutions, but I'm willing to be a part of the solution. We have a lot of problems that we need to work on. One of them, as you said, being the crime. You've got one being the protesters. You have one being the educational system. We have one being economics. Somewhere along the line, we have got to address some of these and not come back 2-4 years from now and be faced with the same things we're dealing with today. So I think what everybody here is looking for is solutions. And together we can have them. The only way I can help with that, and I want everyone to know, the state legislature is made up of 100 people. I'm one of 100, but I will be your voice. Sometimes it's good to just have someone that's willing to bring up suggestions, as Kabila said, having pre-existing conditions. The young lady Vivian says, hey, what can we do about people?
Mr. Brown, I'm sorry, we're going to have to leave it there. I got to give the disclaimer as we're getting ready to go up in the last 20 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Prunty, for taking your time to speak with us today. Kayla Ken, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. We do not endorse nor support or oppose any candidate for office. This interview is for informational purposes only. But get out and vote. Election day, November 3rd. Early voting, October 19th. October 5th, last day to register to vote. This is Community Conversations. Have a blessed day. This is Kayla K. All right, now the on air has stopped. Let me stop the live stream and the recording. So, oh no, that's in the meeting. Let's see, stop live stream. Live stream is stopped. Recording. You want to stop cloud recording?